This, wine is really good.
Mine is very tasty, too.
Good. So where did you say you were from again?
Keep whistling, I'ma bite those lips right off your goddamn face.
Sorry. Cindy, stay in the moment, honey, okay?
I'm sorry. What was that?
I really like your hair. It's not...
Wrong answer.
Excellent. Okay. Now, who can tell me what Eli did wrong? Walsh.
He complimented her.
Correct. He complimented her, which is one of our rules. No compliments ever. Okay, let's review.
Always get the girl alone.
We work one-on-one, people. You separate the prey from the herd. Next.
Lie, buy some more.
Yes, until you have something real to offer, you lie. You lie about everything. Yes.
What if you're looking for, like, a real girlfriend?
Can we please just get everyone laid first? I swear, if one of you gets a hand job out of this, I'm a miracle worker. Okay, Cindy's ready for another date. Who's up?
Woman had to escape Cuba Gooding Jr. 7 more allegations detailed. Sexual abuse allegations against Cuba Gooding Jr. keeps adding up since he's been hit with charges, and now 7 more women are coming out against the actor, according to page 6. The 7 additional charges bring Gooding's number of accusers to 22. The 51-year-old has been charged in 3 of the accusers alleged The 51-year-old has been charged in 3 of the accusers' alleged incidents, although prosecutors hope to include the other claims in court to prove a pattern of sexual abuse. And in one of the new charges, Gooding groped and forcibly kissed a woman while attending the Sundance Film Festival back in January 2009. He allegedly invited the woman to another event, and then the two went to a concert, according to court papers presented by Manhattan prosecutors on Monday. When the woman told Gooding that she was about to depart, he seems agitated and offers to escort her out. Then, in a back, secluded highway, he begins to kiss her without consent, and when she shoved him away, noting Gooding was married, he placed his hand on her buttocks, the paper read. Then he pushed his hands forcibly into the crotch area of her tights, placing his finger on her anus and gripping her tight, according to prosecutors. The woman was only able to escape Gooding after she bit his cheek, causing him to recoil. A dozen women previously came out against Gooding about incidents that he hasn't been charged in, including one who claimed he told her to sit on my face, pee in my mouth, at a Los Angeles bar in 2011. This is El Power for News One. Check out this story and more on newsone.com.
Somebody was asking me, what are my thoughts on Cuba Gooding Jr., who's been accused by 22 women of sexual assault, sexual misconduct, sexual harassment. And some people said, Alan, I was reading some of the stories about Cuba Gooding Jr., and honestly, it sounds like he was using a variation of One-HARCORE with some of the women. Sounds like honestly, Alan, man, it sounds like Cuba Gooding Jr. was using One-HARCORE with some of the women, and look where he's ended up. Now he's got, all these charges, and wouldn't you say that kind of supports those people who say that direct game is going to lead to a sexual harassment charge, sexual misconduct charge, or even jail time? Because, Cuba Gooding Jr., he was One-HARCORE with a lot of these women, man. And now he's facing all kinds of, legal ramifications. You think? Really? Is that so? Okay. Let me break it down to you. You know what's coming. Insert dog face here. Y'all not careful readers. I'm in generally keeping up with the Cuba Gooding Jr. drama. I even saw at least one video of his interaction with one of his accusers. See, this, for all of you who sent me feedback and emails and inbox messages related to this issue, here's what y'all all left out. In just about all the instances where he's gotten accused of sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, sexual assault, whatever, he was groping women, man. He was groping women. Just like a lot of guys who've been the victims or targets of Me Too allegations and accusations. He was groping women. Yes, I did read where some of his dialogue would be representative of what I call Mode One-HARCORE. Mode One-HARCORE. Like, there were some women he interacted with where he told them straight up, basically like, I want to fuck the shit out of you. I want to take you back to my place and fuck you, silly, and that type of shit. So verbally, yeah, a lot of his dialogue with women was Mode One-HARCORE. But where he got into trouble is in two areas. Number one, most of the women he interacted with, he was groping them. He was physically touching them. Like a lot of women said, he was touching their tits. Like there's a video where he just blatantly is touching this woman's tits. He just starts squeezing her tits. Other women said he was grabbing her ass. Another woman said he tried to just blatantly try to finger fuck her and all kinds of stuff, man. He was being, I say in my book, say it again, you should never try to touch a woman while you're talking dirty to them or talking about or expressing your sexual desires and interests. I rarely, if ever, do that shit. The only time I begin to touch women is when they've given me clear body language signs and signals that I have their consent to touch them. But otherwise, I never just take it upon myself to just start touching on women. You can't do that, particularly in the Me Too era. You can't just start touching on a woman's thighs and ass and tits and shit like that. No, you can't do that shit. You stupid if you think you could get away with doing that shit. You know, there was a couple of pickup artists who got in trouble for promoting that. I ain't gonna mention their names, but there was two Caucasian pickup artists who were promoting the idea of going to clubs and just blatantly grabbing women and grabbing their ass and grabbing their tits and trying to kiss them on their neck and shit. I don't ever encourage that type of shit to my clients. You stupid if you're trying to touch women. So that's number one, where Cuba Gooding Jr. fucked up. Number two is a lot of women said that when he was, for lack of another way of putting it, Mode One-HARCORE with him, once they rejected him, he didn't leave him alone. What do I always say to guys? What do I always say? When you let a woman know you're attracted to her, let her know you want to spend time with her in a romantic or strictly sexual manner. I always say, once that woman tells you in one way or another, no, I'm not interested in sharing your company in any type of romantic or sexual or physically intimate manner, leave her alone. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. No discussion. Leave her the fuck alone. Leave her alone, man. You know, I've actually had men on YouTube and in the manosphere in general try to argue with me on that. I mean, some men basically say stuff like, oh, Alan, man, I don't think you should ever leave a woman alone after just one rejection. I don't think you should ever leave a woman alone after just one rejection. I think you should just become more aggressive and more persistent once the woman rejects you for the first time. You should only leave a woman alone after she's rejected you like maybe 2, 3, or 4 times. That's bullshit. See, there's a difference between resistance and rejection. I'm not going to get lengthy in detail with that. I do it more so when I'm working with my clients on a Skype consultation or one-on-one phase. But there's a difference between resistance and rejection. If a woman is resisting you, that is when you become more persistent. A quick example of resistance would be like, say you tell a woman you want to have sex with her. And she's like, I don't know. I don't know for sure if you're my type. And I don't usually sleep with guys I just met. I don't know. See, if a woman has that type of response, that's resistance. That's when it is appropriate for you to become more assertive and more pleasantly persistent. I do that when women are resisting me. Like wholesome pretenders, the archetype of women I call wholesome pretenders, they tend to do that. They tend to resist sexual advances. To a much more theatrical manner, erotic hypocrites tend to resist sexual advances. But if a woman looks you dead in your eye and firmly says, I'm not attracted to you, I'm not interested in sharing your company, you need to leave her the fuck alone. Period. You need to leave. That's just like that woman, what's her name? Ruth George got killed in Chicago by that brother with the dreadlocks. See, that was fucked up, man. He was hitting on this woman sexually. She actually didn't reject him. She just ignored him, and he killed her. Killed her. What is that about? What is that about? And see, this is where a lot of guys be saying, oh, man, see, Ellen always going in on men, and more specifically, I hear brothers saying, oh, Ellen be always bashing and going in and trying to show tough love to black men instead of calling out these bitches. Because y'all do stupid shit like that. Y'all don't know when no means no. If a woman firmly tells you she's not interested, leave her the fuck alone. Period. And that's why I don't have no sympathy or empathy for Cuba Gooding Jr. A lot of these women said they told him in a polite way that they were not interested, and he kept on hitting on them. He kept on hitting on them. So don't conflate his behavior to my Mode 1 approach. Even my Mode 1-HARCORE approach, I would say don't conflate that with it. Because again, some of his dialogue could be arguably considered Mode 1-HARCORE, but what nullifies it is that he was groping women. He was either groping women, touching them inappropriately without their consent, and or when they rejected him, he wouldn't leave them alone. Neither one of those things is anything that I encourage or condone. So as much as I respect and love Cuba Gooding Jr. as an actor, as a ladies' man, a womanizer, he has no respect from me. He fucked up. And whatever ramifications, legal consequences that come his way, I ain't gonna feel sorry for him. I ain't. And I feel that way about most of the guys who have been targets of the Me Too movement. He said, Alan, wouldn't you agree that under most normal circumstances, if you exhibit Mode 1 behavior with a woman, with the possible exception of your variation that you call Mode 1.5, that women are going to perceive you as being crass, rude, and or disrespectful? Crass, rude, and or disrespectful, which has the potential to cast you in a bad light among your social peers? I've had that question thrown at me quite a bit over the last 20, 25 years. My general answer is here's my main response. Kind of simultaneously yes and no. Yes and no. Here's my thing, man. All three of those things are highly subjective. They're subjective. One woman's crass is another woman's naughty. Let me repeat that. One woman's crass is another woman's naughty. One woman's rude is another woman's bold. One woman's rude is another woman's bold. And one woman's disrespectful is another woman's dominant. One woman's disrespectful is another woman's confident and dominant. It depends on the woman. What I mean by that is simply, and most men who follow me can attest to this, I can name times I've said the exact same thing to two different women. And one woman might have had a reaction of, I think what you said was rude and socially inappropriate and disrespectful. And another woman who I said the exact same thing to said, oh, you bad, you naughty, you nasty, you bold, you bold. So what's the difference? The fact that I've gotten a variety of different reactions and responses based on the same exact comments that I expressed to a woman lets you know that crass means that you're saying something that's just socially inappropriate and abrasive. Socially inappropriate and abrasive is essentially what crass means. Crass basically means you're overly blunt. You're inappropriately blunt is what it means. That's what crass means. Crass means you're saying something that's inappropriately blunt. That's subjective, though. That's subjective. There's no universal definition of what's crass. Again, I'll say it again. One woman's crass is another woman's naughty. One woman's crass is another woman's naughty. Rude. Rude. Everybody knows that rude. Rude is based on your social programming and your cultural conditioning. If you take two people from they have two sets of different cultural conditioning and social programming, they're going to perceive each other's behavior as rude. Like, for example, if you smoke cigarettes yourself and you have no problem with your friends smoking cigarettes, and let's say a new acquaintance of yours comes over to your house or apartment and pulls out a cigarette and lights it up and starts smoking it, are you going to consider that rude? No, because you smoke cigarettes yourself. And you allow most of your friends and acquaintances to smoke cigarettes. So if some new acquaintance came over your house or apartment and started smoking a cigarette, you're not going to look at that as rude. But on the flip side, if you hate people who smoke cigarettes, which I would fall in that category, I hate smokers. I hate to say it, I do. I hate smokers. So somebody like me, who doesn't like people who smoke cigarettes, and I don't allow my friends, relatives, or acquaintances to smoke cigarettes in my presence, if I had a new acquaintance come into my place and just pull out a cigarette and light it up, I would be like, motherfucker, what are you doing? Literally, I would be like, motherfucker, what are you doing? Put that out. Put that out or get out. Put that out or get out. And I'm not even joking. That's what I'll tell that person. It might even be a family member, a relative of mine. Somebody just abruptly put out a cigarette and light it up and stuff, I'd be like, put that out or get the fuck out. Because I would perceive that as rude. That would be rude. But again, I'm going to say this. One woman's rude is another woman's bold. I've said, again, I can name times where I've said the exact same thing to two different women, and one woman would tell me, honestly, I think that's rude what you just said to me. I think that's very rude. Then I said the same exact thing to another woman. A woman would say, oh, you bold. You are bold. You got big balls. You bold. One woman's rude is another woman's bold. Final, disrespectful. Disrespectful. There's no such thing as disrespecting somebody if you don't know where a woman's boundaries are and where her sensibilities lie. Let me repeat that. There's no such thing as being disrespectful if you have no idea where a woman's boundaries are or where her sensibilities lie. In other words, if I meet a woman and I have no idea how she feels about use of profanity, and I start using profanity, and let's say she says, Alan, I think it's disrespectful for you to use profanity in my presence, I'm going to basically say that's bullshit, because I didn't know. You know, Dave Chappelle, I don't remember the exact quote, but I remember Dave Chappelle was being interviewed one time on this show called Inside the Actor's Studio. And he talked about that. The host of the show asked him something about, does he think a lot of his humor crosses the line? And his brilliant response is, he said, how can my humor cross the line if I don't know where the line is? He said, how can my humor cross the line if I don't know where the line is? See, that's how I feel about a lot of my Mode 1 conversation and my provocative, explicit language. I don't ever feel like I've crossed the line unless I know where you're. Now, here's where I would say I'm being disrespectful. If I meet a woman and within the first minute or two after I meet a woman says, hey, I got to let you know, I do not like men who use profanity or sexually explicit language. I do not like that. And then let's say I say, fuck you, bitch. I'm going to use that language anyway. See, then right at that moment, I'm being disrespectful. Because she's told me where her line is. And I basically said, fuck your line, I'm going to cross it anyway. But if I don't know where a woman's established boundaries are, her sensibilities lie, I'm not being disrespectful. Because the reality is, man, a lot of women like X-rated and triple X-rated talk in the first conversation. Some women don't, but a lot of women do. That's the reality of women. There's some women who don't like profanity, particularly in the first conversation, don't like sexually explicit language, particularly in the first conversation. But I know an equal, if not greater number of women who do. Like, to listen to Verbal Seduction Story number 1 and Ooh Say It Again, I know a lot of people would say, oh, damn, Alan was rude. When I said to that woman, bitch, shut the fuck up, shit, that's not what most people would call polite language. Some people would argue, Alan, you were rude and crass and disrespectful when you said, bitch, shut the fuck up. But y'all know how the end result was. That woman ended up becoming my personal sex slave. So all that's subjective, man. That's subjective. That's where you got to know women, man. You got to be able to read women well. You got to know your women. And know who you can get away with what language. But that's why I have different variations of Mode 1. Again, I have 4 different variations of Mode 1. Mode 0, Mode 1 Hardcore, Conventional or Default Mode 1, and Mode 1.5. If you're apprehensive about a woman's reaction to profanity or explicit language, then that's when I would suggest you need to start off with women being Mode 1.5. You need to start off your conversations being Mode 1.5. That's how my brother was. He's the one who came up with that nickname, Mode 1.5. Most of when my brother, before he met his wife, that he was Mode 1 with, he was always Mode 1.5. He was never Mode 1 Hardcore with women, ever. My brother was always either Mode 1.5 or a few times he was conventional Mode 1. But he never was Mode 1 Hardcore. So, get it, got it good. In my Patreon exclusive portion, I want to talk about why you need to have some bad experiences with women. You heard that, right? See, a lot of men make the mistake, starting with the late teens, early 20s, of trying to always prevent and avoid really disappointing experiences with women, really frustrating experiences with women, really heartbreaking experiences with women. And I'm explaining in my Patreon exclusive portion why that's a huge mistake. But before I wrap up, you YouTube listeners were the first ones to see a picture of my girlfriend. And I made her public this week. Was the first time I made pictures of me and my girlfriend public on Instagram and Facebook. And it's just blown my mind because Facebook, I have over 250 reactions to my pictures of me and my girlfriend. And all positive, all positive. No haterade just yet. I know I'm going to get some haterade, but no haterade. Yeah, all my people on Facebook show me nothing but love and respect. Even a couple of my haters, people who have previously been haters of mine, gave me a lot of love and respect for my pictures. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, y'all were the first ones to see her. Our relationship is going well. As you know, we've been cohabitating for almost 3 months. Our relationship is outstanding, and we're about to go on a vacation cruise in a couple of weeks, which I'm looking forward to. And yeah, but yeah, a lot of people were tripping out this week because, again, yeah, I had never really made her public other than YouTube before this past week. Yeah, I never made her public on social media, but yeah, I made her public on Instagram and I made her public on Facebook. So anyway, happy holidays to you guys. And for those Patreon subscribers, join me in my Patreon exclusive portion.